Welcome, dear movie vibers. How are you all? So today we have brought a super fantasy feel-good romantic movie released last year. It is said that times pass, but love remains alive in every era. There have been many such movies where someone from one era comes out of his timeline and starts loving someone from another timeline. He falls in love with someone by going from past to present and from present to past. Friends, today's movie is also made on a similar time travel concept. But this is different from all of them. So welcome to Love Across Time. So in the beginning of the story, we show our heroine Chase, who works in a very famous bank in New York. Currently, she has come to England. Friends, her bank has a right on a very old palace in England, and they want to auction it. Chelsea has come to inspect the palace on behalf of the bank and tell what the price of the palace should be today. And according to that, they will sell the palace and this place to a client, meaning they will auction it. A woman named Priscilla has come to pick her up, who runs a real estate agency. Through her, the bank has decided to sell the palace. Friends, Chelsea also has a boyfriend in America who was going to come with her on this trip. But at the last moment, there was some problem between them and Chelsea broke up with him. Priscilla tells that 250 years ago, this was a very prosperous place and people of the royal family used to live here. But today, the time has come to auction it. Then the caretaker of the palace comes there, who takes care of the palace and other properties related to it. His name is Goob. Priscilla tells him why Chels has come here, and that Chels will stay here for a few days and inspect the palace. And based on her reports, its price will be decided and it will be auctioned. And friends, this Gaib has been taking care of it for the last many years. So these people ask why no one wants to buy this palace. He says that this palace looks good, but it was not maintained properly for many years. It has been damaged in many places. The roof is also broken in many places, and no one wants to bear the cost of maintaining it. That is why it has been lying like this for many years. On top of that, there is also a ghost in the basement. Maybe that is why no one wants to die after buying it, meaning everyone is scared. In this way, friends, God knows what all things he tells Chels to scare her. Anyway, Chels keeps her things inside, and she is given a nice room. And a few years ago, a rich man had also bought it, but to maintain it, he took a loan from Chelsea's bank and renovated it according to today's times. But he passed away. After that, no one else bought it. That's why it came into the hands of the bank. The bank itself cannot maintain it, and that's why they want to sell it at a good price. And for this purpose, Chelsea has come here, friends. So Chelsea goes and looks everywhere in the palace and finally goes down to the basement. When she hears no sound, she gets scared that there is really a ghost here, and then her boyfriend calls and apologizes. Although Chels had broken up with him, suddenly the call gets cut and the phone switches off automatically, although it was charged, friends. Now Chels gets even more scared and picks up a pen with a big handle and moves forward, saying that if she sees anyone anywhere, she will break his head. So a mirror is seen ahead, which looks a little strange as if there are clouds on it. A man is seen on the other side of the mirror, friends. Now seeing him, Chaz gets shocked, and similarly seeing Chels, that man also gets shocked. He asks, "Who are you who are sitting in my room?" In this way, he speaks a very pure language. Chels asks, "Who are you? And what are you doing in the basement? And what kind of dress-up are you?" That man thinks that Chels is standing behind the mirror, so he looks on both sides. And here, Chels also thinks the same, that maybe this man is standing behind the mirror, but there is no one there. So both of them realize that they are looking at each other through the mirror. He asks, "Are you the ghost from Aladdin's lamp? What are you doing inside the mirror?" Chels says that to me, you look like a ghost. He says, "I am not a ghost. I am Charles Bagley IV. Chels gets shocked. "Are you Prince Charles Buckley IV? Tell me, which year is it?" He tells her that it is 1799. Since childhood, Barbie considers Chels's dress very strange and asks her which era she belongs to. She says that she is living in the year 2024, and on hearing this, he gets stunned. Both of them are unable to understand whether this is true, or a dream, or an illusion. Both of them pinch themselves, and then they come to know. Friends, this is true. As soon as both of them put their hands on the mirror, they both get an electric shock. From that side, Charles's mother calls out that Prince Charles should come immediately. Food is being served. Charles says that my mother is calling me. I have to go. Friends, it seems that Charles is mother's beloved son. We will meet again tomorrow. Saying this, he leaves. Chelsea also comes upstairs in confusion. She does not understand what just happened in the basement. How is it possible that I could talk to a prince of 1799? She had seen about time travel only in books and movies. Does this really happen? She does not even get sleep at night. She keeps thinking whether this was a prank or what. The next day, she again goes to the basement and looks at the mirror. But what is this, friends? Now the mirror looks absolutely normal, and her face is reflected in it, which should be there. She also starts calling Charles' name, that, "Where are you?" But Charles does not come. Then she goes to an outhouse near the palace where Goob lives. He is playing his game. Chelsea asks, have you really seen a ghost in the basement? He says, I have not seen it directly, but every full moon, some sound definitely comes from the basement. I have heard it myself. Not only this, friends, now I will tell you. This guy is very interested in reading about science fiction and time travel, so Chelsea takes a time travel book from him and comes to the palace. The next day, Priscilla and Charles go to see the 5 properties around this palace, which belong to the palace itself. So, on the way, Chelsea asks about the history of this palace and the kings. Priscilla tells that it was very prosperous during the time of the last 3 kings. But later, the 4th prince, i.e. Charles Berkeley, took responsibility of it, but he did not live long. He did not even get married and he died in a fire accident. After that came the 5th prince. But during his time, the decline of this kingdom and the palace started, and soon it was mortgaged to the bank. Now it is the property of the bank. The bank cannot maintain it, and that is why efforts are being made to sell it. Whoever buys it will definitely demolish it and build another building or hotel of his choice. And with that, the history of this palace will also be lost. Friends, Chase should have understood one thing here, that Charles IV did not marry, and he died in a fire accident. And perhaps he was visible to Chels in the mirror in the basement. Now, after seeing the property, Priscilla drops Chase in the palace and leaves. Chase also starts reading Gubb's time travel book. When she has some doubts, she directly calls the author of that book and asks whether this time travel is really possible. I had gone to a place where my phone got switched off automatically. It is written in your book that this can happen due to the radiation of granite stone. Have you ever had such an experience? In this way, she asks about the things written in the book in detail, and that too with great interest. So the author also becomes happy and says that research is still going on about this. By the way, what I had written was just my theory. According to me, it can also be the effect of the full moon that is going on at the moment. By the way, the interest you are taking in time travel makes me think that maybe you have had a time slip. Time slip means seeing the future or the past while being in the present. Shell says no. I have not had any such experience. I just read your book and thought of getting my doubts cleared from you. In this way, she diverts the topic, friends. That very night, she again goes to the basement, where she is able to see Charles again through the mirror. It seems that the time portal is still open. Both of them still cannot believe that they are seeing each other from different timelines and are also talking to each other. Now, Charles says that after meeting you yesterday, I kept thinking the whole day whether this is true or not. I have come and seen this mirror many times, but it seemed normal. I think it changes only at night, and I'm able to see you. So friends, now Chelsea tells about herself, that I am from America and have recently come to England. Charles is very curious to know about the future world. He wants to know what changes have happened in the world in these 250 years. So Tails is a little afraid to tell, because she feels that by telling the things of the future to the person of the past through the timetable, maybe the sense of time will change, or if something from the future goes to the past, then the world will change because of that. But there should not be any problem. Like if there was a disease in the past, for which many people died due to lack of treatment, but now we have the treatment for that disease, then if that medicine is taken to the past, then it should not have a bad effect on the present world. Hearing all this, Charles laughs and says that I do not understand what you are afraid of. If that medicine is found by the people of the past, then people's lives will be saved. This is a good thing. Well, if you are so afraid, then I promise that I will not insist on taking anything of the future to the past. Apart from this, if there is any other interesting thing, then tell me, like any technical or scientific changes, etc. Then Chelsea tells that in my timeline people fly. He gets shocked. Do people fly? Then Chelsea explains that an airplane has been made in which the heroes can board and go from one place to another in a very short time. It takes only 6 hours to go from here to New York. Charles says, wow. It takes us 3 months. And listen, Charles, there is a vehicle called Cards here, which has an engine. Charles says we go in a horse carriage. Well, Charles, how much time does it take to go to London in your time? He says a week. Then Chelsea says, oh my god, it takes us just 4 hours. Then Chels shows him her phone and says that through this we can talk to anyone and they can also talk to us by looking at it, even if they are in any corner of the world. But don't know why this phone doesn't work in this basement. If you have this phone in your hand, it's like you have the whole world in your fist. Charles is stunned to see how much has changed in the world, and what new things have come in the world. Then both of them talk like this. They share many things from their respective timelines. Then Charles gets up and goes to the kitchen and brings coffee and cookies. He gives a cookie to Chels through the mirror. Its taste is amazing, friends. But suddenly, Chels has trouble breathing. Actually, there were nuts mixed in it, and Chess is allergic to nuts. So Charles gets scared, and he comes to the present from his time through the mirror. He asks, what happened to you? Chess says that there is a kitchen on that side where there will be a bag. Please bring it quickly. Now Charles runs and brings the bag. Chess takes out an allergy injection from it and injects it. Then her condition improves and she is able to breathe. Then both of them talk the whole night and Chess sleeps there. Charles also falls asleep, and he also sleeps sitting there. Now in the morning, they see that the mirror has become normal, meaning the portal is not open. It is closed. Chess gets scared that now, how will you go to your timeline? So Charles says that now I will have to wait till night. I will be able to go only when the portal opens at night. Don't worry. By the way, I felt a little hungry. Please do something. Now Chelsea brings him to the palace, hiding from Gub's eyes. He sees that the palace has changed a lot in 250 years. In the kitchen, he helps Chess in preparing breakfast. He asks that the new bathroom built here is very wonderful, and that toilet is very interesting. By the way, where does this waste material go after flushing, and how does the water come inside automatically? In this way, friends, he asks many questions about the toilet. So Chess says that once it is flushed, it is done. Don't ask so many questions about it, friend. Otherwise, I will not be able to have breakfast. By the way, your mother must be looking for you. So Charles says that my father died a few years ago. After that, the work of the kingdom fell on me, but I am not interested in those things. But being a prince, I am forced to sit on the throne. That room with the mirror is my secret room. Only mother knows that I go there. When I do not come out of the room, she does not disturb me and takes care of my responsibilities. So there is nothing to worry about. Then Gub sees Charles from outside, and seeing his strange dress, etc., he doubts who is he. But Chelsea sees him looking at Charles, and she immediately takes Charles inside and tells that he is the caretaker of the palace at present. Chelsea goes out friends, then Gub asks, who is that man inside? Tell me? Have you brought him? Chelsea says, which man? Who are you talking about? I have not seen anyone. In this way, she goes away by avoiding the matter. But Gub's doubt was not cleared, friends. He goes inside and looks, but Charles hides from him. Then Chess returns and does his work. Priscilla calls to tell that she has got a client to buy the palace. We will sell the palace soon. Initially, Ches wanted to sell the palace as soon as possible and finish her work and go back. But friends, now she is sad that if someone buys the palace and demolishes it and builds something else, then she will never be able to meet Charles. And before something happens to this palace, she will have to send Charles safely to his timeline. That night, also both of them go to the basement and look, but the mirror is normal. That means Charles cannot go to his timeline even today. Charles feels very bad that Charles had to come to this timeline to save his life, and now he is not able to go back. Friends, now she is saying to save his life because when she got allergic to nuts, Charles came out of the mirror. After that, he brought an injection from the kitchen. Only then her life was saved. But then Charles says, no problem, I'm having a lot of fun here. I'm enjoying here. If I lived there, I would have been alone. At least you are here. So Chelsea gives him a room to sleep and he sleeps there happily. Now the next day, Chelsea gives him a tracksuit to wear because he has been wearing the same dress for 2 days. He is surprised to see the elastic of the tracksuit and pulls it and sees that this is a great concept. Chelsea also brings him shoes. He is changing his dress on one side. So Chelsea searches about Charles Buckley on her laptop. So she comes to know that he was killed in a fire accident on June 24, 1799. According to her, Charles will now live for about a month, after which a farmhouse near the palace will catch fire in which Charles will die. Then Charles comes after changing his dress. So Chelsea quickly closes the laptop. He asks, what is this? Charles tells that the phone I showed you is a similar device. I do my work in it. Charles says that I feel like going out. I want to see the outside world. Will you also come? Then Charles and Chess go for a walk in a forest near the palace. Charles asks, tell me one thing, what difference do you see in your timeline and this timeline? Charles says that I feel that I have come to a new world. 2 days ago in my timeline, I passed through this forest. At that time, there were small plants, creepers, etc. here, but now there are such big trees here. I am very surprised to see this. Then Chess asks him about his family and learns many things about him. In the next scene, Chess asks Gub that if you know anything about Prince Charles Buckley, who lived here in 1799, then tell me. I have heard that he was killed in a fire accident, so he says that I am not a history teacher. There is a cemetery at the back. Maybe his grave will be there. You go and see. Charles immediately goes and sees Charles's grave is there, but there is no other detail in it about how he died. That night, friends, Chelsea is reading a book. Then Charles comes and tells that I went to the basement again, but the mirror portal has not opened yet. Now, friends, to get more information about this, she goes to meet the author of that time travel. At first, Charles used to ask general questions about the timetable, but in the end, she finds out that the portal with the timetable will really open only during the full moon. Meanwhile, Priscilla comes with a client who is interested in buying this palace. Seeing them, Charles secretly comes out from the back door and collides with Gab, and immediately he recognizes that, hey, you were in the kitchen with Charles that day, right? Then he said that there was no man inside. How did you come inside? And why did you sneak out like this? Tell me. So Charles tells him the truth, that I sneaked out after seeing that woman and man, nothing else. So Gab says that, oh, so my guest was right. You are Chaz's boyfriend and she brought you here without telling her boss, and if her boss comes to know, then she will lose her job. That's why she is hiding you inside, right? Okay, don't be afraid. I will not tell anyone. Stay in my room till those two leave. Saying this, he takes Charles to his outhouse. There Charles is very surprised to see him playing games, etc. What is all this? It looks like magic. Charles is also very hungry. So Gab takes him out, and he is very happy to see the car for the first time. He gets excited. Then he remembers Chelsea's words that it has a thing called engine, and it does not require a horse to run it. Seeing his behavior, Goob says, "Why are you looking at the car like you are seeing it for the first time? Are you from New York or somewhere else? Have you never seen a car there?" Then he takes Charles inside the city and goes to buy a burger for him. And Charles starts staring at the cars coming and going. He goes to get a burger, and after eating it, Charles says, "What is the name of this thing, friend? It is very tasty, and moreover, you do not need to sit to eat it, and you do not even have to put it on the plate. It is very cool. You can eat it while walking as well." Very good. Gub gets even more suspicious, friends, that which era has he come to? He is talking as if he does not know which era he belongs to. Meanwhile, Chelsea returns to the palace. Then the client says that one of my architects will come and inspect this palace. Only then will I be able to decide whether to buy it or not. After Priscilla and the client leave, Charles and Gub arrive. Chas asks, "How did Gub see you?" Charles tells her everything. Then Charles says that I am very scared, Chas. I just want to take you safely to your timeline. Your stay here should not cause any strange changes in this timeline, due to which you and the world may face any other trouble. This is the only thing I am afraid of. By the way, I had inquired from an expert about time travel, and I have come to know that the portal will open only on the full moon, meaning we will have to wait for 25 more days. Charles says that I had heard the conversation between the woman and the man who had come to see the palace. They were saying that they will buy it as soon as possible, and after demolishing this palace, they are going to build another house here. Can't we stop this from happening? Chelsea says, "I have already told you why I have come here. Once this palace is sold, the buyer can build anything he wants here. We cannot stop him, and I do not have the cash to buy such a big palace. Otherwise, I would have bought it myself and got it maintained myself." Now, the next day, both the friends go to the archaeological department and tell that there is an ancient palace which is now in the possession of the bank. They want to sell it to a private client. Can't the government take it under its control and keep it safe like a heritage site? The staff there checks the history of that palace and says that we have already prepared a list of such ancient palaces and heritage sites. And the palace you're talking about is only 250 years old. Such sites would be rare in America, but there are sites much older than this in England. That is why we do not consider it a heritage site. After hearing this, Charles becomes very sad because this palace is the history of his family. It is his identity, which is now on the verge of being destroyed. Tell me. So Chaz consoles him that if I had that much money to buy it, then I would have definitely bought this palace for you. Hearing this, he kisses her hand as per his times and thanks her for thinking so much about him. Thank you. Chaz also finds this a little strange, but it seems that friends, the closeness between them is increasing. Then they go to a property related to the palace. Actually, the fire accident happened here, in which Charles was killed. It is written there that there was a fire here in some year, and how Charles died by burning in it. Here Charles tells him the truth, that according to history, Charles, you died by burning in a fire accident here on June 24th, 1799, at the age of 34, and according to your timeline, only a few days are left for you to die. Charles gets confused as to what you are saying, and to convince him, Chaz takes him to his grave, where his birth and death dates are written, according to which he died on 24th of June, 1799. But on seeing it, Charles says that it is only written in memory of. It means that my body was not kept here. My hat, or my shoes, or some of my favorite things must have been kept here as a memento. Now Charles again gets confused as to what he is saying. Charles explains to her that I did not die in that fire accident, probably because I don't know what was going on in my mind before coming to this timeline. I wanted to leave the palace, kingdom, and throne and run away somewhere far. Even now, I don't want to go back to my timeline, but go somewhere else and live a peaceful life. I want to spend my life. So I don't think I will stay here till that fire accident, nor will I die in that fire accident. Maybe my family thought that I died in that fire accident, and that's why they buried my things here and made this grave as my memorial. Now Charles thinks that this can also be possible, but still, he doesn't believe it. He thinks that Charles must have died in this fire accident, and because his body could not be found, his family buried his things in this grave. Charles says that whatever happens. But now that I know that a fire accident is going to happen here, I can go to my timeline and save the people working here. But Charles does not want this to happen because he is afraid that if such a change happens in the past, it can have a bad effect in the future. Charles says that, "You don't worry. That accident will definitely happen today, and I will just save people from dying by burning in it. That's why nothing will change in history." Now, the next day, friends, Priscilla tells Chelsea that the client has agreed to buy this palace, but it will take some time to prepare the papers, etc. Charles starts praying that somehow the portal should open before that, and Charles reaches his timeline. Meanwhile, Charles goes to roam around the places. His gestures and behavior have changed like the people of this era. Friends, he asks Goob about time travel. So Goob says that Chelsea also took a book about timetable from me. By the way, why are you both so interested in timetable? Well, whatever. Now, if I had the power to make timetable, do you know what I would do? I would go to the very past and deposit a small amount in the bank. After 200 years, the interest on it would have accumulated so much. And when I come back after time traveling to the timeline after 200 years, that amount would have been in millions of billions. And then I would have been the richest man in the world. Her idea seems quite bad, friends. And Charles also does not take it seriously. He decides that he will be happy with Chelsea as long as he is here. They also start falling in love. One day, Charles calls her bank and talks to her boss and asks if there is any chance of saving this palace by handing it over to the government instead of selling it. Hearing her words, Charles's love for her increases even more, that Charles is trying so hard to save his palace. Meanwhile, there is no reply from the client who had come to buy the palace, friends. A week passes. After 2 days, there is a full moon, and only then the basement portal will open and Charles will be able to go to his timeline. Both are happy and sad too. After that, they will not be able to meet. The last time, both go to a restaurant. Then Chess tells about her boyfriend and her breakup. Charles says that my mother saw many girls for me, but nothing worked out. So Chaz asks, what will you do first after going back to your timeline? So Charles says that I will meet my mother. She will be very sad after being separated from me for so many days. Then I will save people from the fire in that farm. But you don't worry. I will not stop the fire. I will only save people. Fire will definitely break out. But I will miss you a lot. I am telling you the truth. Charles becomes sad because she had fallen in love with Charles and is unable to separate from him. So Charles says that what will you do after I leave and after this palace is sold? Will you go back to New York? Well, friends, both love each other and are also sad thinking about separation. But they do not say this openly. Both return home laughing and talking. Charles then says that I did not even realize how this 1 month passed. The most beautiful moments of my life have been spent with you. I will miss you a lot. Saying this, he holds Chas's hand and kisses it, and both are about to express their love. But Chas says goodnight and leaves. Cube sees all this, friends, and tells Charles that if you love her, then give her a lip kiss. He kisses her hand, so Charles laughs and says, leave all that. I just need your help. Actually, in these few days, Charles and Cube had become good friends. So Cube says that yes, I am ready to sacrifice my life for you. Tell me. Next day, friends, that client calls and asks for the papers of the palace, etc. Charles also goes to meet him, and with him. After leaving, Charles and Quay together prepare for a farewell dinner at home. When Chels returns, Charles has kept a gown on her bed. She comes down wearing it. Charles is in his 18th century dress, and both of them do a wonderful romantic dance. Then Chas says, please don't go. Stay here with me. Charles says that if it were up to me, I also don't want to go. I want to stay with you forever. But what should I do? I have some responsibilities. I have to save my people from that fire. And Gub told me some things, and I think I can save my palace. It seems, friends, Charles took Gub's words seriously that by going to a bank in the past and depositing a small amount, it becomes a very big amount in the future. Charles has made a plan, but he does not tell Chels anything openly. Then after that wonderful romantic dinner, both of them sleep. The next morning, Charles sees that today is a full moon day. That means that the portal will open today. She feels very sad that Charles will leave her today. She goes out for work. Charles reads about an old bank there, which has been running since Charles' time and is still there. He asks Gay that day, you said that there is something called money, and if a small amount is deposited in the bank in the past, after 200 years, that amount will be very big. Tell me a bank which was there in the 18th century and is still there. Now he gets angry and asks her to tell the truth. Who are you? Ever since you have come, you have been doing this timetable. Sometimes you get surprised on seeing a car. Sometimes you get surprised on seeing a burger. What are you? You have come from New York, but you have never played a game. Hey, who are you? Tell me. Asking questions like this, he looks at Charles's face carefully and asks in surprise that exactly. I saw the same face in a painting of the palace. What is your full name? Charles says that it is Charles Buckley IV. So are you the king of this palace? Charles says, yes, I am the king here. I mean, I was the king. So that's why you and Charles were asking so much about time travel. But how did you drop in here? And then Charles tells him about the mirror in the basement where the time portal was open. He says, I reached here through that time portal. I have to go back to my timeline and save my people and save this palace from being auctioned. For that, I found your idea of collecting money to be right. Please help me. He says, okay, I will definitely help. By the way, you will come back, right? Charles says, I cannot say that right now. But if I can save this palace, then I can come back. That night, Charles reach near that portal in the basement, and that portal is open. Before leaving, Charles expresses his love and both kiss. Charles gets very emotional. She asks, when will you come back? Charles says, I will try my best to come back. After bidding adieu to Charles, he goes inside the portal. The next day, Guab asks Chess, where is Charles? Chess sadly says he is gone. The next day too, the full moon is visible, so Chelsea goes to the basement again. The portal is still open, but Charles is not visible. Perhaps he never came to his mirror room. Chess is very sad. The next day, friends, the manager of a very old bank comes, whose bank was started in the 18th century and is still running. He asks, are you Chessie? Chessie says yes. He gives Chessie a letter and tells her that it was kept in the safe in our bank more than 200 years ago. We have been keeping it safe for almost 10 generations. At that time, King Charles Buckley IV had kept this letter in our bank and had written that it should be handed over to Chess, who lives in this palace in 2024. Now Chess opens that letter and reads it. So Charles would have written that, my dear Chase, I have made this arrangement to save our palace from auction. After leaving you that day and coming to my timeline, I was sure that you would come to see me near the time portal the next day. But in my timeline, it took a whole week to take £1,000 and deposit it in this old bank of New York. That is why I could not meet you the next day. I don't know whether I will come back or not, but I have deposited this £1,000 in your name, which will become a very big amount in your timeline. That amount will reach you, and with that amount you can buy the palace and save it from this auction. The manager says that I cannot believe that 250 years ago, a king left this letter in your name, and it is clearly written in it that you should get this letter on today's date. He had deposited £1,000 in our bank in 1799, and that too in your name. Today its value is £246 million, and now that amount is yours. You just have to sign some papers, after which that amount will be given to you. Chelsea is completely shocked, friends. Now Chels buys the palace at a price higher than the client who was going to buy this palace. Priscilla does not understand how Chelsea got such a huge amount. Chelsea also laughs and says that I had an old boyfriend. He gave it to me, do you know? Then with the help of Guy, she gets the palace renovated. After a month, the full moon comes again, and Chelsea once again waits for Charles near the time portal. Chelsea gets worried that something might have happened to Charles. Why didn't he come? Then she goes to her room to sleep, and suddenly she hears a sound from downstairs. Chelsea thinks that some thief must have entered. She panics and goes downstairs with a flower vase in her hand, and Charles is standing there. Friends, his hand is bandaged. After seeing him, Chelsea gets a new lease of life and asks what happened to your hand. Charles says that I came here from my timeline through that mirror time portal. So my hand hit that mirror hard and it broke. She panics and asks that if that mirror broke, then how will you go back to your timeline? And then Charles tells that I never want to go to that timeline of mine. That's why I broke it intentionally. That's why my hand got hurt. But before coming back, I wanted to see my mother once. So I saw her. Now I am never going to go back, and I also saved my people from that fire accident. But my family will think that I was burnt to ashes in a fire accident, because they will never find my body, and they will bury some things in my grave, meaning there will be no change in history. Now, we will be able to live comfortably here. Both friends are very happy and kiss, and £100 million are spent in buying this palace. The remaining 146 is with them, some of which they get renovated, and some with themselves. After that, both will live a peaceful life in this palace. The story ends with this. Rest you tell me, friends, did you enjoy it? Take care of yourself. And finally, thanks for watching.